Good old James Franklin. You want to talk about being depressed as a fan base? That guy, I don't think he's ever going to get it done, guys, at Penn State. He's got the one Big Ten championship, and it ain't ever going to happen again. This was the year. If it was going to happen, it was going to be this year, and it didn't happen. So let's dive into the game, shall we? So Ohio State wins 20-12. It sounds close, 8 points, but in all honesty, it really wasn't. It was 20-6 until that last drive. Guys, let's give initial letter grades. Actually, let's give initial reactions first, then we'll give letter grades. Aaron, I'll start with you.
All right, so I was thoroughly impressed with the defense. Kyle McCord did great. He protected the ball. I know the fumble that was not a fumble, got it. Wasn't a fumble, period, dot. So he did a great job protecting. Daggone it. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but Kyle McCord did a great job protecting the ball. That was one of the keys to victory for me, was protecting the football, because Penn State was plus 10 in the turnover margin, and they do a great job of capitalizing on turnovers. So kudos to the offense. The running backs filled in great. Mayan Williams specifically for Travion, they didn't even bring him up in any of the graphics normally, and my dad pointed this out of all people. Normally the running backs don't step up, and they got to talk about how the offense does this typically when Travion's in there. They didn't even talk about Travion Henderson. The running backs did a nice enough job of filling in. So all around, good job. Harrison Jr. did Marvin Harrison Jr. things, and that's that.
He did Marvin
Go
Harrison
Bucks.
Jr. things.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. There you go. Good wrap up there. Chris, go for it.
I'm like Aaron. I thought the defense was absolutely phenomenal. They only gave up, what was it in the second half? 6 yards until the last drive. Was given up in the second half. So they were lights out. I was very impressed by the defensive backs, specifically the two youngsters who stepped in there for Denzel. And overall, offensively, we did enough to win.
I love coming in on a Sunday and saying this after watching film and doing all the previews with Chris and Aaron, saying they are who we told you they were. I mean, come on, guys. By now, you should be sharing our show with everybody and be like, if you guys really want to know how the game's going to go listen to the OHIO podcast, because we break it down better than the experts on television are, okay? Aaron told you they've got no deep threat. None. And if we stop the run, we're going to win this football game. And we did exactly that. They only had
100 yards.
Yeah, 49 yards
rushing.
And they only had 197 passing, I think it was.
Yeah.
And 71 of which came on the last drive of the game when we were in prevent defense. Okay? Which made sense giving at that moment, because it was forcing them to use the clock up is what was happening. That's why we were doing that. So I know a lot of people said, why you go to a prevent? That's why. You made them use all their timeouts, all the clock, everything was gone. And even if they get the onside kickback, it's still going to take a miracle. So beautiful job by the defense. It was glorious to watch. This defense is legit. Can we all just basically say the Silver Bullets are back? They're back, okay? Best defense since 2019, and I'm not so sure overall. By the way, right now, Aaron, it's hilarious. You were frozen for a long time like this.
It's what I do, man. Can you hear me at least when it freezes?
Yes.
For the most part, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
So, it was. I was going to say, this defense, I'm not so sure they're not better overall than 2019 was. 2019 had better stars, but this might be the better defense. I like this scheme as a team. I like the scheme better too.
I like the depth as well.
Oh, there you go. The development on this defense is really, really good, guys. Like there's not a big drop off from the first string to the second string. Okay, I like that. Okay, let's give letter grades real quick here. Here we go. Let's start with the offense. We had 286 passing yards. I'm sorry. 286 passing yards, 79 rushing yards for a total of 365 yards, 4.8 yards per play, 22 first downs. We were 6 of 16 on third down, 0 for 1 on fourth down. We did possess the ball for 34 minutes and 24 seconds, but we did have one turnover in this game. Aaron, your offensive letter grade for the Buckeyes on Saturday.
Offense, I got to go with a B plus. I think that's justified. McCord's still kind of underthrowing some guys. Marvin did have some drops. The running game looked better, but we're still getting about 3 yards a carry with Mayan. I think he had like 24 carries and 60-something yards. So, I mean, we're still not breaking any big plays, but passing game more than made up for it. So I'll take it. Cade Stover. How about
Yeah, Cade
that guy making some grabs?
Yeah.
I liked Cade Stover's pregame speech at the skull session.
That was magic.
Yes, that was great.
Chris, your offensive letter grade.
Well, I'm not going to be as kind as Aaron. I'm going to go with a B minus. There was, I thought, still Kyle McCord was underthrowing some. He was very close, had he not been bailed out, to giving up a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. We still made some silly penalties. I question a few of the play calls in there still. So overall, I mean, in the run game, we only averaged 1.9 yards per carry on the ground. So, I got to go B minus. I think that we've got a lot of potential there. I will say this: outside of the penalties, I feel like the offensive line is starting to come together, and I feel by the end of the year, if we keep progressing this way, we'll get to that B plus A minus offense that we want to see.
I was worse than you two. I guess C plus. 20 points is not enough.
No.
When we go to when we play that team up north, when we hopefully get to a college football playoff, we're going to have to put the biscuit in the basket more times than 20 points. It needs to be in the 30s. Okay, I understand that our defense is really, really, really good, but Penn State offensively was not great. Okay, Notre Dame offensively, not great. Maryland offensively, not great. These are good teams, but they're not great offenses. Washington, I think, might have a great offense from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Oregon might have a great offense if we were to run in either one of those. Oklahoma, I think they might have a great offense. Go watch them.
I think they're good. I wouldn't call them great.
What constitutes great?
I just don't see the consistency every week, especially. I look at you look at the team up north. Are they a great team? Hard to say. They haven't played anybody yet. But you know what? They're doing what they're supposed to do against those teams, with the exception of that Bowling Green game when McCarthy was throwing to the guys in brown more than the guys in blue, But, and I don't even know that Michigan's a great offensive team right now because I don't think they got the quarterback consistency to be a great offensive team.
Oklahoma.
I think that you're right with Penix Jr. and Washington. I think they're great. I think Oregon is great offensively. I don't know that there's more than 3 or 4 greats offensively in the country right now.
Oklahoma's offensive points this year: 73, 28, 66, 20, 50, 34, 31. 20 is kind of weird because it was against Cincinnati on the road. Okay. But, dude, come on. They scored 34 against Texas.
And I think Texas might be the most overrated team in football.
What?
Dude. Okay, 30, but it's 34 against Texas and then 31 against UCF. What gives here? 20 against Cincinnati.
20 against Cincinnati.
Come on.
Okay, Cincinnati, like I said, that one's weird. But Dude, did you not watch Texas absolutely Walton? Like Alabama couldn't do anything offensively against Texas defensively.
Alabama was more confused at quarterback in that game than we were, though.
Alabama's got an atrocious offense. Like if you
Alabama's
don't like
offense is
Ohio
bad.
State's,
they're worse.
if you don't like what,
offensively
then we are
by far.
If I'm being honest.
All right, we'll just talk about Oklahoma later. We might not have to worry.
I don't think we'll have to.
Okay.
I don't think so either.
Defense. Let's give a defensive letter grade. This one I think should be pretty easy, right? We gave up only 191 yards passing. Like I said, 71 or 79 of that was on the last drive. 49 yards rushing for 240 total yards, 3.5 yards per play. First downs, they gave up 15. Third down efficiency. You ready for this, guys?
I love this.
1 of 16. Wowzer. And 1 of 3 on fourth down. So they were a combined 2 of 19 on the money downs. 25 minutes and 36 seconds on time of possession and 0 turnovers. But when you're given 3 and outs like that consistently, it's hard to get turnovers, right? A+ for me on the defense. Aaron.
A+ for the same reasons.
Yeah, I can't argue with it. The defense was incredible. A+.
Beautiful. I love it. Let's hand out Buckeye leaves now, guys. This ought to be a lot of fun. Let me see real fast though who gave defensive letter grades. Jay said A on the defense. Sammy Poston said A+. He gave an A for the offense with a slow start. Frank agrees with you, Chris. He said most encouraging thing I saw on offense was that the O-line looked better. Still not great, but improving. Nick Quint said TTUN only plays Penn State and us. Yeah, their schedule's soft as a baby's butt, man. Jay Thompson, our defense played great, but their QB had even more accuracy issues than ours. Yeah, that was Drew Aller's worst game, and he was emotional after that game.
Oh yeah,
he was emotional. He literally said, "This is the worst I've ever played." So I don't know. I didn't really watch a ton of Penn State before this game. Watched some film. I watched the West Virginia game. He looked great. He looked electric in that game, and he's kind of went backwards. There is a narrative right now amongst Penn State fans that when quarterbacks come to Penn State and they start working with James Franklin, they get worse, not better.
An argument can be made.
It's out there. So not a good place to go if you're a quarterback, I'm supposing. So for the guy down the road in Olentangy that Franklin flew the helicopter to watch him on Friday night, you might want to consider someplace else.
I love that look, Aaron. That's a great look you got right now.
So cringy.
It is. He Ubered a helicopter.
What pisses me off is that that's the school he coached at.
He went to your school and flew in on a helicopter, brother.
I would have never allowed that. No.
You wouldn't have went up and shook his hand?
I'd have been some random with a laser pointer like, no, he can't land here. Like, just kidding. I wouldn't do that. For legal purposes, I would not do that.
That's great. Okay, let's hand out Buckeye leaves, man.
Sure.
All right. Let's do the obvious one, right? Offensive player of the game, Chris.
I'm going to have to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. there. I don't really think you could go any other way. Although Cade had a great game, but you just got to give it to Marvin. Or wait, we could call him by Eric's favorite new nickname.
No. It's so bad, dude.
We'll let it pass.
I love Gus. Okay, a lot of people don't like him. They say he's over the top. I love Gus, but that one I could do without, dude. Marvelous. I love Marvelous. But not that one.
Did you catch Jay Thompson's latest comment there?
It's time for Aaron's participation trophy. Today, Jay, it might be me. It might be me giving participation trophies. I went with Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, man. I don't know that you can give it to anybody else. Aaron, what do you got?
Same. There's no argument to be made.
All right. Let's go to the defensive player of the game. And Aaron, since you went last, I'll have you go first.
Defensive player of the game. Here you go, Jay. The whole secondary, bud. I told y'all, had to shut down Lambert Smith or Smith Lambert, whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. He didn't do crap anyway. So, Jermaine Matthews, Igbinosin even covered him for a few downs. Hancock, they did a great job covering in for Burke. So I'm going to give it to the whole secondary, man. Proctor got in on some hits. Ransom got in on some hits. Sonny Styles did a good job. I think Styles, he was even in on a sack.
Yeah, he was.
So, yeah, give him the whole secondary.
All right, Aaron, I see your participation trophy, and I raise you. The entire defense gets a Buckeye leaf. How you like them apples, buddy?
I'm cool with it. You see the influence that I have here.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, I didn't know who to give it to, so I'm like, let's just give it to all of them. Chris, what you got, man? Are you gonna raise us even more?
No, but I'm just gonna call Aaron. There's no way I can call yours. I'm gonna call Aaron, and I'm gonna say that they looked really good in the defensive backfield, but I'm gonna go with the defensive line. How about the fact that we came in with 10 sacks on the season and got 4 yesterday?
Okay, against what was supposed to be the best offensive line we faced.
Well, and these 2 tackles they're saying are both NFL tackles, and one of them is a potential first-round pick. So
yes,
now, Jay, we are all alphas here. There is no beta on this podcast, brother.
No, you're not. He said it.
No.
Love it.
He's in there with his Lex Luthor cackle again, Eric.
Yeah. Sammy agrees with me. Whole defense gives the MVP. Dude, Sammy. No. Please tell me you did not put that. Oh, it's such a bad nickname, dude.
This show's magic. I don't care.
It is. All right, let's move to the offensive play of the game. Chris, you want to start with this one?
It may be crazy, Eric.
Okay.
Because, seriously, there's so many you could go with. Now, the one I want going down for a record is going to be the Cade Stover catch.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because that was just a phenomenal catch. But you know what? I think the play of the game on offense may have very well honestly been Marvin Harrison Jr. getting held.
Ooh. I didn't think of that.
Because of the fact that reversed that pick, the fumble that was returned for a touchdown.
That changed the whole game.
And ended up turning into points for us.
That is a really, really, really good one. But I actually I agreed with you. I went with the Cade Stover 30-yard catch because I thought it was a phenomenal play.
Oh, the athleticism he showed there and the hands.
Yeah. I don't think it actually ended up getting anything, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know that we scored, but it was, to me, that was the best play of the game. But you're right. I think the most impactful play was actually their penalty. Yeah, because that would have given them the lead. They would have had all the momentum, and we ended up getting a touchdown from there. There's a 14-point swing there. So, yeah, Jay Thompson, excellent point there for you, Chris. Aaron, your offensive play of the game.
Offensive play or player?
Play.
The offensive play of the game was Cade Stover mossing that one guy.
Yep.
We all
that
agree.
was a hell of a catch.
Yeah.
All right, so since we all agree, we'll move on to the defensive player hit of the game. I'll go first. I thought Kenyatta Jackson's 4th down sack was and then we ended up turning that into later the second touchdown, Marvin Harrison, when we went up 20-6. At the time, we were 13-6. And I thought that was basically pretty much the nail in the coffin at that moment defensively. But Kenyatta Jackson's 4th down sack was my defensive play of the game. Chris.
Okay, so for me, it was actually, and I want to set up the series here. This is what I was talking about, guys. There was a series in this game that I thought was just so. He wrote alpha on the paper. You see this. Yeah. But there was a
he's gonna come in next week and instead of co-host down there, it's gonna say Alpha Sergeant MVP Alpha Aaron Brown.
It needs to happen.
But okay.
It's signed, sealed from Jay. Let's go.
So there was a huge series on defense, 10-6 game. They come out and this is right after, I believe, the muffed punt. They gave them the ball back with great field position. They come out and they try this pass, the wide receiver pass. And Proctor and Steel Chambers sniff that right out.
Yeah.
Well, we push him back. What happens? Well, we go off sides because that's what we do. Give them yardage back. The very next play, and this is my play of the game.
Because that's what we do.
Because that's what we do. The very next play, JT Tuimoloau gets in there and gets his sack. Puts him in a 3rd and 15, and they end up having to kick it away because, well, let's face it, we know that Drew Aller wasn't going to get 15 yards given 3 downs. So I think that JT Tuimoloau's sack was the play of the game for me. Ended up, we got the ball back, scored a field goal, got that touchdown lead, and went from there.
All right, JT sack. Okay, Aaron, your defensive play of the game.
Yeah, I'm with you, Eric. The Kenyatta Jackson sack.
I guess I'm the alpha on that one.
See, I'd thought about that, but at that point, the game was pretty much over. So,
hey, you know when I was the alpha, Aaron? When that nice lady with the lovely singing voice from West Lafayette sat down and asked me to move over, and I said no. I can't.
The Big Mac lady. Yeah, I will refer to her as Big Mac Mary from here on.
Big Mac Mary.
Yes.
All wrong.
What do you want from us? We're fat. The dude behind us goes, "What do you want, lady? We're all cheeseburger
Big Mac loving Americans."
Big Mac loving Americans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Big Mac Mary, that will forever be the legend.
Big Mac Mary. There you go, from West Lafayette. Oh gosh, the times we have on the road, guys. Let me tell you. All right, here's our question. Let's start with Brian Lee Oberst's question. Did Ryan Day make the correct call by going for it on 4th and goal, only up 4, or should he have kicked the field goal? Let us know in the comments section what you think of that question. Chris, I'll start with you. What is your opinion of going for it on 4th and goal, only up 4?
Now, see, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Eric. I like the aggressiveness. And I listened to him in the press conference afterwards, and I like what he had to say about the expectation that he feels we should have been able to get 2 yards. I don't disagree. However, in a game like this, when you know points are going to be at a premium, I feel like you needed to get that 7-point lead. So for me, I think the smart thing to do would have been to kick the field goal. However, something I don't do is give this guy a whole lot of credit sometimes, and I'm going to give him a little bit of love and respect for the guts he showed in making that call, whether it was right or wrong, and then sticking by that decision.
Aaron.
Yeah, so if we learn nothing from the Oregon loss 2 years ago, kick the field goals. He left 9 points on the board or on the field against Oregon. That was the difference. We lost by 7. We could have won by 2 because he wanted to throw it 4 times from the 2-yard line for some unknown reason. So, moving forward, like Chris said, points they were at a premium against a team like Penn State. Take the points every time.
And Aaron, I'm sorry to interrupt, Eric, but Aaron, you've coached football. When did getting points become a bad thing? Because you see this a lot in football right now. The going for it on 4th down seems to be a more and more prominent thing. When did taking the points become a bad thing?
I'm going to be honest with you. Something I noticed the year in 2014 when we won it all, the 2014-15 season, okay? We lost to Virginia Tech. And then we had to go on a miraculous run
Mm-hmm.
And we had to win big every game to get the lowest level of respect from a national standpoint. Okay.
Right.
They took into account something, and we didn't hear about this
The
beforehand,
eye
but
test.
style points. That wasn't a thing before that season. Okay. So to me, I think that we had to beat Wisconsin 59-0. That had to happen.
That had to happen.
We had to beat Michigan however we did. Okay. And then we had, you know what I mean? Like, that was a serious thing. We had to win with style points. And ever since then, it has evolved into now we're at a point where we're going for it on 4th down and 2 or whatever the case instead of taking points.
Good
and
point,
we're
Frank.
losing games over it.
Frank makes a good point if you watch the Washington-Oregon game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a great point.
Yep. So the thing I'm hearing more and more often, and it makes my skin crawl, James Franklin, the analytics say, you know what? Screw your analytics, man. The analytics can be wrong. Okay. How do analytics are created because of trends.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's a trend doesn't mean that trend is right. All right. There's a lot of trends in our culture and society today that suck. Okay.
Facts.
So just because something is a trend doesn't mean it is right. I heard it last night a bunch on the games that were being played last night. The analytics say they should go for it on fourth and 2 from their 30-yard line. And then they didn't get it, and then Duke goes up by 10. Now, Florida State came back and ended up winning comfortably. But, yeah, exactly, Jay. Thank you. Analytics can't account for momentum. Bingo. If
common sense.
Yeah. If yesterday's game was a shootout, okay, we need points. So you might go for it, right? But yesterday's game was not a shutout. In that situation, you kick it.
Now I agree. And this is the other thing I'm hearing a lot of, Eric, is people saying the fact is we should have been more aggressive there because our defense was playing so well. And because the defense is playing so well and they would have been pinned back having not gotten it,
right?
It was the right call. And I understand that argument, but I still disagree with that in that situation.
Yeah. Okay, so we held them there and they kicked it, right? What happened? Mm-hmm. It goes off Fleming, it hits Fleming, and then they get the ball at midfield, right? Where you could have kicked it, been up 7, and then kicked it, and they started at their 25. So
right.
I think you take the points there.
I'm just saying, all right, analytics, whatever you want to call it, common sense. Here's what I do know, okay? 3 points gets you closer to a win than 0 points.
Right.
Okay? I don't need a computer. I don't need film. I don't need anything to tell me that. Yeah. And that's what I was getting at. Analytics don't account for momentum, and they don't take into account common sense.
It's a real big thing in the NFL tonight. I'm not watching Sunday Night Football. I'll pick it up here in a few minutes when we're done recording. But Miami's got an analytical head coach who's doing very well right now. He's a guy who's literally probably never played a down of football in his life. He's just a nerd behind a computer he's making his living based off analytics, right? Okay, and they're doing really good right now. But I'm telling you right now, behind the scenes, there are coaches on that roster, I promise you, who are get in your face, get the nuts and bolts. The offensive line coach, the defensive line coach, the linebacker coach. Those guys aren't analytical dudes, dude.
We all have Billy Beane to thank for this one season with the Oakland A's, and it turned sports upside down.
Moneyball is okay. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Moneyball and football, dude,
and
where we're at.
Outside of that one season with the Oakland A's, when has analytics really worked? And it didn't have them a championship that year. So I mean,
there are things that are in analytics that I think you should study.
There are trends that you should study.
There are certain statistics that can give you insight in what's going on with a football team. And if it takes analytics for a football coach to see that, hey, we're on 3rd down, we're getting beat on the left side of the offensive line 80% of the time. Dude, if you can't see that in film, you need analytics to tell you that.
Right.
Thank you. Holy crap. And I'm going to tell you what, he might be doing well, but the Dolphins are not going to win a Super Bowl. You know why most of the NFL is guys like Cade Stover. You can study your math. Cade Stover's going to line up across from you and put you on your ass. Okay? Just ask him. There's film on that. Okay? No analytics needed. He's just going to do it. That's what football is. It's not computer. It's not Madden. It's not NCAA football, regardless of the year. It is on the field. We don't play it on paper. We don't play it on a screen. It's on the field.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah. Good question. Good debate. But yeah, dude, you always take the points, in my opinion, in a close game like that. Ryan Day, man to man, would probably admit that. I do agree with you, Chris, though. I can appreciate the aggressiveness. I like angry Ryan Day. I wrote an article about it last week. I think angry Ryan Day is a more aggressive play caller, which is good. But we are learning right now with this football team that it's an alpha defense team, to take the word alpha. We have an alpha defense, and we have an offense that's trying to find points in different places. So good to see you tonight, Chris. Welcome in, buddy. Jay says, remember the year Chip Kelly went for 2 almost every time due to analytics? I think he is still waiting on his championship trophy from last season. Yeah, about Chip Kelly. And you know what? There's some influence there. Chip Kelly's pretty influential in Ryan Day. That's actually a good point.